Shake the dust off your feet when you leave that home or town. Therefore, be as shrewd as snakes and as innocent as... So this is a video that I shot years ago and merged it with an audio Bible. The sun is approaching, and I recently did the moon set. You can see it later on if you care to. It's on my channel, and I'll be posting the one that I shot this morning when I get home. So right now I'm going to take us out to the ocean, and I wanted to show you here, we've got stationary non-moving wind chime right there, and the sun will be approaching from that vantage point over there. The moon set was right over here. Now what's interesting about this, the sun will appear here today and is going to vanish right over there this evening. The reason why that matters is means that the sun and the moon, the stars move, the earth doesn't move. It's the truth cycle. Works great for getting around at the beach. It's a 1984 Shadow, Honda Shadow V-twin, shaft drive, liquid cooled. Awesome bike. You can hashtag my name if you care to. So what I'm going to show you right again from this vantage point, the sun would appear from this vantage point over here. And I just wanted to establish location and all of that. Part of the dynamic with this too is, right now I want to show you where, according to some of the results I've had when I ask my elevation, look on the compass, in the neighborhood of 10 feet above sea level. And as I drive us on in, maybe you can notice that. Roadways are constructed on the level. That's what they do. That's how railroads are constructed, all of that. 100 years ago, when this topic of the shape of the earth was discussed, some pretty intellectual and literary geniuses expressed that the earth isn't a globe, earth not a globe. And you can read, went under the pen name of Parallax. For a while I had Parallax on my on some of the titles that I made. What I'm going to do is go ahead and just show you the beauty of this as we approach the sunrise. The sun's approaching us, and we're headed on in that direction. Thanks for tuning in. Let's flip this around for you. So where I started the broadcast out was at the point in Cherry Grove. And where I'm going to be recording today, actually broadcasting today, is going to be several miles south where I was yesterday. The live broadcast I did last night to show the moon set. I'm sorry, the sunset. And the moon high in the sky over the ocean. Pretty interesting. You see the sun and the moon and stars move above the stationary earth. And I'm being more specific about saying stationary earth because the earth doesn't move. That's biblical, that's reality. And the whole topic of the flat earth is being censored quite a bit.
And so, although I believe it's mostly flat, the water, undisturbed water, is demonstrably flat and level. We've got mountains over 5.5 miles tall, apparently with Mount Everest. And that's what we're told. So we don't really know if there's taller mountains in regions we really don't necessarily have access to privately. Admiral Byrd did some exploration for years. We don't really know all the details of that, simply because they'll tell us what they want us to hear, largely. They, who are they? Well, largely what I want to talk about is the artificial intelligence is very clever, and it will present information to different individuals depending on their who they are and who they know and all that. Each of our information queries is going to be different based on quite a bit of data. Let's see. We can see in the rear view mirror there, I've got actually it's not the rear view mirror, it's my rear window, the defroster, that slight temperature differential of the electricity flowing through the glass in the defroster, or it's actually, I'm not sure if that one's in it or on it. I believe it's on top of the glass. It's evaporating the moisture. The truth reflection down there is a solar panel. I go through a lot of power. I'm continually charging. I've got an inverter in this car. I can actually run a refrigerator on if we have a power outage with a hurricane or EMP. There's talk of the EMP as a real threat, and although that may be the case, there's also the real threat of artificial intelligence interrupting the power supply anywhere in the world for however long. Imagine having that kind of control and being able to control the weather, and not being able to, having a lot of actual results with that, creating storms. The past couple of days we had 30s and 40s percentage of humidity. That is really dry. Now today it's approaching more 87%, I believe it was. The moon set this morning was 98%, and I show the numbers on the video that I shot with the P1000. You can see it later if you care to. I'll post that when I get home. And one of the reasons why I'm doing this is I want to elaborate on this in such a way that you can explore the information yourself. Now, because of the temperature differentials not being as extreme as they were yesterday, we've got 76 degrees right now. And there isn't the fog or the evaporation and condensation above those pools of water that were here yesterday when it was like 59 degrees. Ambient temperature in the water may have been in the 80s, mid-80s. Excuse me. So there's actual real evidence that we can evaluate and look at, for ourselves, where the sun appears and vanishes, how long they're up and around. It's totally inconsistent. Reality is not the heliocentric model. That's a lie. I'm going to show you the tidal activity again. I should say the intracoastal waterway, which is tidal affected. When we have a high tide and a storm surge and flooding from all the rain coming from inland, it can be very difficult. So areas can be flooded out. Even coastal regions can be flooded out as well. One of the advantages here is that the water has a place to go, right back out into the ocean. So this is North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, in the United States. And from this vantage point, the sun would be visible right about in the middle of the view there. I was out here last night with the Truth Cycle. I bring that out because it's real easy to find parking, and then the bubbles that I blow, they're big, they're beautiful. Most people seem to really love them. They tell me they do. I'm going to take them at their word. The kids are laughing, smiling, running through them, all of that. That's not the only reason why I do it. One of the other things that it does is it allows me to show something that's actually invisible. We can't see the wind, however, we can see the effects of the wind. That's kind of a big deal. Jesus used the example of the wind being much like the Holy Spirit, moving through humanity, activating his children. Many are celebrating Father's Day. My Aunt Kathy she may have transitioned last night. She was within hours of that. We're all eternal beings having a temporary human experience. At some point in the human experience, the child of God will absolutely be born of his Spirit, be born again. Now, my mother transitioned back in 1993. Pretty tragic. It's a lot of years without my mom. And a lot of lives are different because of that. Our sons, mine. So it's a bit reflective when I hear of, my aunt, that's her sister, transitioning soon. It's a bit. I'm a bit reflective on that because of that whole situation. I miss my mom, and one of the things that she told me. She said, Bobby, if the cancer doesn't get you, the treatment will. And that was a pretty telling statement, and I came to believe that it's accurate as well. The cancer, in many cases, is intentionally caused to a population that's unaware. Just a simple thing. Read your toothpaste label. Look on the back of your toothpaste, and if it says, if it's got sodium fluoride in, that's toxic. And if you swallow a pea-sized quantity, you should contact poison control. Well, why in the world would I put a toxic substance in my mouth that has no benefit to me? It has a benefit to the New World Order to stupefy the population by dulling the cognitive function of the individuals that are drinking the fluoride water, brushing with the fluoride toothpaste. You should know that. You can check it out for yourself. You can look in your own medicine cabinet and see what's there. And that's part of the deal with that. I want to help people make an informed choice. It's not just about the shape of the world. It's about the shape of your life. What kind of choices are you making? Should you make? It's all a big deal. So the sun should appear here in a couple of minutes. So I've got to roll out there pretty quick. And I will. My broadcast is cutting out, but it is. Hopefully I can keep it connected. right, so it says I'm live. I hope that's the case. I'm hoping that I actually have my live broadcast. Feel free to go ahead and hashtag my name and or YouTube Truth. Quite a breeze coming in this morning. Quite often when the sun's approaching, the wind picks up. When it gets close to being visible at the location where I am. That's what I've noticed. There's Nick's beach cruiser. He's out there surfing right now. And the sun, she's approaching. I should say the sun is approaching. The reference, biblically speaking, is that the sun and the moon have a different reference. I forget which genders they are, but that's what Scripture speaks of. So I'm having a problem right now with my broadcast dimming out. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know if I'm actually live right now. I hope so. However, regardless of that, I've got a P1000 recording. The tide's coming in till about 8:02 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, roughly 2 hours after the sun appears here. So we can see the sun appearing, or I should say approaching, right in the middle of the view. And last night from this vantage point it vanished right over there. Kind of interesting, isn't it? I think I'm gonna go ahead and start another live broadcast. I think I've got a problem with my broadcast, so I'll just link it together if that's the case.